Welcome aboard the Wedding Empires podcast with yours truly, Jac Bowie, where we plunge into the depths of creativity, entrepreneurship, and the love-infused world of weddings. Each episode, we're going to unpack strategies, insights, and stories that empower you to craft the wedding business of your dreams. Welcome to the Wedding Empires podcast. Welcome aboard the Wedding Empires podcast with yours truly, Jac Bowie, where we plunge into the depths of creativity, entrepreneurship, and the love-infused world of weddings. Each episode, we're going to unpack strategies, insights, and stories that empower you to craft the wedding business of your dreams. Welcome to the Wedding Empires podcast. All right, so welcome back to Wedding Empires. I'm your host, Jac Bowie, and today I'm super excited to introduce you to one of my great friends. We connected over copywriting, of all things, back in the day when I had wedding planning business, Darling Don't Panic. I went on the hunt for an incredible copywriter that understood weddings, but also could speak with personality. And I came across this incredible woman called Tayler Cusick Hollman and her business called Taylered. And wow, what a life-changing experience. The copy on my website has never looked so good and sounded so me. So that's how we met, but there's a lot more to this lovely lady than copywriting, that's for sure. Thank you so much for joining me, Tayler.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be having this chat with you today, and I'm always so happy to see your name pop into my email inbox. Always.
In the past, you've worked with Aisle Planner, and that was interesting to me. I love Aisle Planner, and obviously from, being with the Wedding Academy, we absolutely, adore Aisle Planner and love to push that as a preferred tool. But you've got lots of other projects that you have going on. Some of our listeners will know Sourced Co., which is a beautiful styled stock subscription service. And possibly they might know about your latest project, which is NG. So I guess a good place to start would be, Tayler, why don't you spill the tea on your business journey?
Well, I'm trying to get used to describing myself as a serial entrepreneur or a multi-hyphenate because it's abundantly clear, right? I have a lot of brands to my name at this point, but it still feels so strange because my intention was never to be an entrepreneur. I went to graduate school and my intention was to be a college professor. And so it's like where my life ended up is so starkly different from where I thought it was going to go. But I'm so glad that this is where I've landed. And really, when I take a step back and I think about what all of my businesses have in common, it's really, I guess it's my career's goal to help make marketing a heck of a lot easier for everyone, because it's just this big, confusing, kind of overwhelming and scary thing that is also such an important part of running any kind of business. And especially, actually, it's really important for anyone who's running a business in the wedding industry because of the fact that you have to find new clients every single year, right?
Yes.
And so you don't have this opportunity to do what other types of businesses have in terms of like remonetizing the same customer. And so marketing is even more important to businesses in this space. So, whether it's marketing, consulting, and copywriting, or stock photography, and now NG, which is software to help people actually do their marketing, and it's a marketing system, it's all just my attempt to make your life easier in this really important and impactful space.
Fantastic. And NG, is it just for wedding professionals, or who is it for?
Yeah, so it's actually built for any type of small business owner. I mean, I'll say most of the marketing that I've done since we launched in May of 2023 has been in the wedding industry, because this is kind of like my corner of the universe, my home. And so I knew that this was going to be an industry that I was easily going to be able to tap into my network to help really build the brand, because, you know, when you're building a brand from nothing, no one knows you exist. And so you try to find people who are going to be most excited to help you create some noise. So that's why right now, a lot of my time and energy has been spent in the wedding industry, but the tools themselves are built for anyone who is running a small business and needs to do marketing on their own.
Amazing. And that's big when it comes to the wedding professionals. I mean, there's so many solopreneurs out there, and you know, I know firsthand, I was a wedding planner and doing it all, doing the ads, doing the marketing. So we'll come back to NG for sure, but I guess I'm interested from a wedding perspective. You know, what's drawn you to working in weddings?
You know, I have a soft spot for women who are trying to create something for themselves, and the wedding industry is overwhelmingly, you know, female owned, operated, founded businesses. And so that's a big part of what drew me to this industry. But on top of that, I love the fact that it's this wonderful combination of creative problem solving, but then like this unique experience that you're trying to build for someone. So it's just like this special place that, honestly, I talk to business owners in all sorts of industries, and it's very misunderstood, which draws me even more to it, because it is just like this own unique space that's so fun to be in. And you guys throw the best parties, obviously. So
oh my God, I know.
Every time I get to go to something, it's like, oh, I get to get dressed up and fancy and not just hang out in my casuals.
I remember when I started as a wedding planner, every Saturday I would go to like a different winery and like try their wine and their cheese board and ask to see the manager and have that conversation. But it was like, really? I have to go to a new winery every Saturday? Wow.
Tough life.
I know. Okay, amazing. So today we're going to talk about something specific, which is ways to add passive income to your wedding business, something that you've done really, really well. And when I was researching on who would be a good fit for this topic, I actually found that you'd written a few articles about this exact topic. So I was like, oh my God, Tayler, of course, would be perfect for this. Look, I've always known you to be someone who diversifies and is able to create multiple income streams. So you instantly came to mind, of course, but may I be nosy and ask what your current revenue streams and projects are?
Yes, of course. I'm an open book. Like,
good.
You know, if people want to know something, all you have to do is ask, and I'm going to tell you, because I don't know how to not tell the truth. My parents did me right in that regard. So I have 3 businesses right now that are, you know, I'm actively still marketing and running. So talk about wearing hats. But so if we're looking at Tailored Media and Designs, which is my consulting business, that has multiple streams of revenue. And so the core of it is the done for you services, which for at least the last few years has been really heavy on the copywriting side of things. So that's service based. But then I also have templates in a shop on that website. Ooh. So, you know, marketing templates, some easy copywriting templates, like company mission, vision, and values. And so those are all digital products that can just, you know, sell. People can purchase them at any hour of the day. So that business has 2 income streams. And then with Source Co, there's actually, I guess, 4 income streams there. And so there's a lifetime membership to our stock photo library. So that's 1. We also have an online shop of select images. So if people just want to buy one-offs, so that's 2. Then we have our acrylic styling blocks for when you're styling flat lays. So we have a physical product. And we also have that physical product on an Etsy shop. So that's why there's 4 streams of revenue for that business. And with NG, there's just 1. It's just, you know, it's software as a service. So it's a subscription-based piece of software. And so that's where things are coming over there. So it's like, there's a lot of things that I have to pay attention to, and they all need their own little bit of attention in a different way. But I don't even know what that added up to. Someone's going to have to do the math for me.
There's
but it's probably
there's definitely some pieces that seem to be automated and sell while you sleep,
Yes.
like the templates, for example. I'm sure you've automated the delivery of those templates and welcome series and all of that sort of jazz that goes on afterwards. Okay, so can you think of some examples of passive income streams that are particularly well suited to wedding professionals?
Yes, there's actually quite a few. And I think that most people, they get a little narrow-sighted when it comes to thinking about ways that they can make money. And so this is always a really fun conversation to have, because there are many ways that, any wedding professional and business owner can actually, start to diversify their income, which is basically what we're doing here. So I think the low-hanging fruit, meaning one of the easiest ones to get started, I'm explaining it because I'm like, is low-hanging fruit also a turn of phrase in Australia?
Yes. Yes.
So an easy one to get started with are things like resources and templates. So digital products, right? And so whether that's, PDFs or kind of, sometimes digital products are just glorified Google Docs that you're selling access to other people, right? Spreadsheets, right? So there's so many ways that you can create resources and templates almost not having to spend any money, which is fantastic. Another one that's really an interesting space to play in, it's more common in the B2B, like the business to business space, but it definitely has a home if you're just selling to couples, but it's affiliate promotions. And so, in the business to business space, when companies feel like there's a lot of cohesiveness and common goals, then people are often promoting somebody else's product because it complements theirs, or it's a value add for their customers. But even as a wedding professional, if you're only talking to couples who are getting married, if you have affiliate relationships with the companies that make the products that your couples are going to want to buy as a part of, the wedding planning process. So even if it's on Amazon or, different retailers, then, you can make a small percentage of the sales that you are pointing to that business. Then there's things like branded and physical products. So the Sourced Co example of, branching into physical styling blocks for flat lays is a good example. But, for some folks, there is a way for you to sell a physical thing that goes along with your business. And then for anyone who has a studio or equipment that, I hope that no one is working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week and using their studio and equipment all the time. But you could think of renting out your studio or your equipment when you are not actively using it.
Yep.
Or your props, right? So much stuff there. And then the last one is the education space. And so creating courses, whether they're, mini courses or more long form, getting into the education space is another really great way to think about adding an additional income stream to your business.
Definitely, especially if you've got something of a niche to teach people. If you're, particularly good at, I don't know, as a photographer at glamping weddings or something like that, bottle that up and sell that in your sleep. I know with my wedding planning business, Darling Don't Panic, we ended up turning a lot of our sort of run sheets and spreadsheets and things that we made for that business into templates for the Wedding Academy, because it just saves people so much time figuring that stuff out. Like we've already done it, so why not make that available to everybody?
And didn't you also have travel agency services rolled in? So that's like diversification more so than passive, but it's still kind of along those lines of encouraging people to think outside of the box.
Yes. I don't know if adding that just before COVID was the best idea looking back. because then I had like 2 businesses that weren't working. However, in theory, yes, it was a great idea. I had been a travel agent in a previous life, and we were doing destination weddings. So I was kind of doing the wedding and then sending all these dollars elsewhere about booking the rooms and booking the flights, but I knew how to do it. So, yeah. I didn't even think of that. Of course, that's relevant. Yes. Coming up with something like that. So thinking about another skill set or another revenue stream to add to that service, definitely. And it could be as simple as, I know with the Wedding Academy, a lot of people come to us with a clear, I want to be a wedding planner, and then think very quickly, oh, I need to add on styling, because why are the clients coming to me for planning and then going to someone else for styling? So that's a common one that we see very, very often, is that they'll add on that second course to be able to add on that second service. I interviewed a lovely lady the other day, Nina Clappett, and we talked about SEO and, just even another one, turning your website, if you start getting a lot of traffic in your blog, monetizing that with display advertising or joining a blog network and things like that, that's also money for clicks and things. Great. So I guess what are the benefits of adding passive income streams as a wedding business? I mean, for me, it's making money while you sleep, but
which everybody loves.
Yeah. Can you think of anything else? I guess it's just really maximizing, your products and your services and your abilities, isn't it?
Yeah. And, I think one of the lifelong lessons that we all learned from the pandemic is the importance of diversifying where your income is coming from, right? And so adding additional revenue streams and thinking of ways that you can, create some passive income means that if and when something maybe starts to go into a lull, that you have something else that's already created that you can lean into and try to, spin up and build more momentum around. And, it's not very likely that one will easily replace the other, right? If you find yourself in a real pinch, but you at least have something where you're not feeling like you're totally stuck and or caught with your pants down. So I think the concept of just diversifying your income, to me, it's like a safety thing. Right? Where when you're self-employed, having all of your eggs in one basket is just really scary. And so this is a way for you to kind of spread out some of the risk. Great.
So how do you think wedding professionals identify opportunities for passive income within their niche?
It's one of those things where I wish I could get into everybody's head and know, what are you thinking about when you're trying to figure out how to get into, some form of passive income. But, from where I sit, I think what's important to keep top of mind is really figuring out, okay, well, where is my niche, my zone of genius? Where am I a subject matter expert? Because if you are those things, then it's going to be easier for you to turn it into something else because you already have all the knowledge versus trying to decide, I'm going to go learn how to, write code. And then you're going to sell those services. That's not what we're talking about. But the other thing that's really a good way to start figuring out, okay, well, what is going to be easiest for me to do, but then also the easiest thing for me to find customers for is thinking about, what do people already come to you for when we're talking about advice? Or is anyone sending you emails or text messages saying, hey, can I pick your brain about something, right? That's the surefire. Hey, if someone's asking you, can I pick your brain? That means that they know that you hold the knowledge and they respect you as a thought leader or an expert in that space. And so those are the two things that you really need to have a good chance at creating a digital product or a passive income stream that, is going to hopefully take off.
I think another simple one is, what's that blog post that's gone viral? That single blog post. I know with us, we were doing wedding planning in Australia, and I was sort of dabbling with the idea of doing destination weddings in New Caledonia. And that was something that nobody else was doing from Australia. You could kind of go there and find someone, but chances are they didn't speak English, and no one had a website or anything like that. So that's something that we started offering. And I did a couple of blog posts around like the steps you have to take to get married in New Caledonia. And that went nuts. It was like, because actually like people are looking this up, right? But there's obviously great tools out there as well where you can, you know, answer the public is one, and lots of sort of key search and keyword tools that you can sort of find out what people are searching for. And let's not forget ChatGPT. I know, I'm like, am I dare saying this to a copywriter? But surely you've embraced it.
Oh, yes. NG has an AI copywriter. So I've already gone through my like come to Jesus moment about a copywriter creating an AI copywriter. We're past that.
So, but this simple task of like, look at this business and suggest ways that we can, you know, create additional revenue streams. I did that early on in my first few days of playing with ChatGPT, and it was telling me you need to do courses. We're doing that. You need to do templates. We're doing that. You know, so I felt very charmed. But there were suggestions that I thought, I hadn't thought about that. And it made some really smart suggestions around Wedding Academy should do retreats. It should do real life events. It should do, more online. Like it came up with things that did actually make sense. So I think that's another great tool as well, to sort of put in there what you're already doing and have it make some suggestions, right?
Yeah. The other thing, kind of to continue on what you shared about, hey, what's that blog post that just went viral? Taking that same lens and looking at your Pinterest account. Yes. What are the pins that just exploded and, you know, are generating all of this traffic within Pinterest, right? That's another way that you can really hone in on identifying where that need already exists and where there's already momentum.
If you're in the business of making dreams come true, listen up, because the Wedding Academy is your ticket to success. Running a wedding business isn't always a walk down the aisle. It takes skill, savvy, and a whole lot of know-how. That's where the Wedding Academy swoops in to save the day. Imagine easy-to-follow certificate courses taught by industry pros covering everything from wedding styling to floral design to even marketing and business for any kind of wedding business. All Wedding Academy courses are 100% online, self-paced, and come with ongoing training and support to keep you up to date. And here's the cherry on top. I've wrangled up an exclusive deal. Just punch in the code PODCAST when you enroll and bam, you'll score a sweet 5% off any course. Ready to take your wedding business to the next level? Then head on over to the Wedding Academy today at weddingacademyglobal.com. Don't forget to plug in that code podcast to check out with your special discount. All right, so what do you reckon are some effective marketing strategies for promoting these passive income products?
Yes, so the first one is probably one that most wedding business owners are not leveraging, and that's email marketing. Like if you're gonna try to get into a passive income stream, it's almost a non-negotiable. You have to set up email marketing. And so when you're doing that, the important part is not just like setting up the platform. You have to actually then create these automated sequences that are going to do the nurturing and selling on your behalf. And that's what makes it passive, right? Nothing is ever truly passive, because you can't just build a product, physical or digital, and think that, hey, I'm going to make $1 million off of this. That's not the way it works. But it becomes more passive because you leverage technology to automate certain things. And so it's not high touch. So email marketing is a must-have. Then there's also this concept. Well, it's not a concept. It's a thing. But it's a new concept for most wedding pros, is retargeting advertisements. And so most people are familiar with, creating an advertisement. But then if you've ever clicked on a product and then you go to a totally different website, and you're like, why am I getting an advert for that product from that website? Why is it following me around? That's a retargeting ad.
Yes.
And so retargeting ads are a really interesting way to stay top of mind, and they can work really effectively for things like digital products and online courses, right? Because sometimes people need to think about it, but you don't want them to walk away from your website or your online shop and just forget that you exist. And so those retargeting ads are a way for you to just kind of like tippy tap on their shoulders and make sure that they remember that, hey, remember you were interested in this at one point, so It's still there. Then there's the usual suspects, social media for, building brand awareness and some interest around it. And then the other strategy that I really like is really leveraging blogging and Pinterest as a pair.
Yes.
Not just doing them separately, but really using them as like a power couple.
And the easiest way I can think of to do that is when you do your blog post, create a pin and put a link to that blog and make it, very simple and very SEO friendly, that description of that pin. It's interesting talking about sort of strategies with these passive incomes when they are low ticket items, and you've done the research to find out that $7 template or that free PDF download is of interest to people, and because you had a blog post about that exact topic and it went nuts, so you've created this great little freebie, but thinking about it as an entire funnel. So, we could talk about funnels, I'm sure the two of us, all day long. So we'll have to park that as an episode, but in a really brief summary, to be able to think about that passive income item that's low price as your sort of top of funnel, which, that's if I take the Wedding Academy for an example, they could be downloading a $7 template that we've put on Pinterest or we've put in a blog or whatever, but they've never heard of the Wedding Academy. But capturing them enters them into that funnel. And one thing I learned early on with funnel is if you want people to go through that journey and buy that expensive thing at the bottom, you've got to keep that funnel full, right? So...
Yep, you have to have so many people in the funnel. And that's one of the things that people underestimate, how much effort it takes to keep people coming in, right? New eyeballs, new potential customers, right? That's what makes passive income not passive, because you do have to put in effort to make sure that you are continually building brand and product awareness around this thing that you want to sell, even if after that point it becomes more passive for you.
Yeah, excellent. So how much time and effort is typically required to establish and maintain a passive income stream in the wedding industry?
I mean, how much time you got? That's the question. How much time do you have? I mean, I have been talking to... in the last year, I've probably talked to like close to 1,000 small business owners. And I'm one of the questions that I ask a lot is, how much time do you have to work on marketing every week? And the answer is typically in conjunction with this space. They make this space. Yeah. And they're like 1 to 2 hours a week. And so... No, and maybe there are some people who are listening to this episode and they're like, oh, well, I have like 5 to 10 hours a week that I can work on marketing. That's great. But also, I think it's important to share that 1 to 2 hour stat, because a lot of people feel like they're not doing a good job or they're not doing enough. But I think it's important for people. Yeah, it's super common. And I want people to know that if you only have an hour or two a week to work on your marketing, you're in the norm. So don't feel bad about it. But I share that because, if we're thinking of, well, what does it take to get a new stream of income up and running or create a new product, right? Like you're going to end up needing to invest quite a lot of time on the front end. And depending on what it is you're trying to accomplish, it could be, you could probably spin something up if we're just talking about, you're turning a Google Sheet or a Google Doc into a digital product, right? Like you could probably you could probably do most things in a couple days.
Yes.
If you dedicate like nothing else, right? Like you're not replying to any customer emails. You go like, I'm dead to the world. This is all I'm working on right now.
Dead to the world.
But dead to the world. Not here. So like you could do something very quickly.
Yes.
But if you're wanting to do something like a robust course or an ebook, right? Like that's going to take you weeks, if not months, to just create the product. Yeah. And then that's probably going to be something that's at a higher price point, which means then the automated email sequences and all of the marketing around it needs to be more robust as well, because the more money you're asking for someone to give you, the more convincing it takes. So like you said, the $7 template, that's an impulse buy. Yeah. But if you're selling a $500, $1,000 course, people are gonna, do I want this? They're gonna investigate it. They're gonna show up and look at it. They're gonna go away. They're gonna have to like somehow bring them back. So in summary, it could be as short as a few days or as long as, a handful of months, depending on what it is you're trying to build.
I think it's important to also say that you can go down the path of producing this stuff regularly and making a workflow out of it. We certainly have with the Wedding Academy, in that we're trying to create templates constantly and things that will help people and things that are trending. And we'll lean on ChatGPT sometimes to come up with what that actually should be in terms of the product type and the name, but we'll lean on our whole team in terms of, is someone making that on Canva, or we've now just engaged a graphic subscription service where we can pump that idea in and leave it with them and pick it up in a few days, and we've been given the product image and the customized PDF. Awesome. So yes, KIMP I use for that. They're fantastic. But you can get into a workflow and be able to create these things every week, every day, every month, if you want, if that's your model, to have this sort of passive, reoccurring income stream, and and then you, as you said, push it out to Etsy, push it out to Amazon, see where you can repurpose it and use it.
Yeah, every wedding business has a slow season, right? And so this is a great way for you to really utilize that slow season so that, you're bulking up potentially your income even when you're busy, but then also in future years, you're going to have, you're going to reap the rewards of the work that you did now. So, if you're willing to commit to the work and the workflows and, continually touching on this and iterating, then it's totally worth it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the way that you and I think is, the minute that we start making a template every week, that's a membership. People would find value in the library that we've built and, the new material coming in. So it's having that presence of thought to go, I'm doing this, like, what else can I do with this? And I'm building this library of assets, that's valuable. How can I also turn that into another revenue stream? So having that kind of presence of thought. Excellent. So what role do you reckon branding and marketing play in the success of a passive income stream?
Everything.
Everything.
I mean, when it comes to your brand, if you have a brand that is already recognizable and trusted, then that's the biggest advantage that you can have. Because, if you think about your own buying habits, when you discover something that's brand new and you've never seen it before, you have a healthy level of skepticism on whether or not it's a quality product coming from a quality source and all that kind of stuff. So making sure that your brand is tight is always important. Yep. And making sure that your brand is visible is always very important. And then obviously, as a marketing consultant and someone who built marketing software, I'm going to tell you that the marketing is Like even more important, because if you, like I think I said this earlier, it's not if you build it, they will come. That's just not the way the world works. And so even if you have a really strong brand, there's very few brands that can stand on their own 2 feet and like the brand itself does the selling. That's like the luxury space, right? Like, you know, your Louis Vuittons and your Chanel's. I don't know why I don't own any of those products, but so it's funny that my mind went there. But the type of marketing that those brands need to do is very different from even a company like Nike, right? So my point in saying that is you have to have a new marketing routine that's dedicated to just that passive income stream, right? Yep. So you're going to have your marketing routine around selling your wedding services, and then you also need to have a routine around marketing and selling your, you know, your passive income product or service.
Definitely. And I think that there's plenty of people out there that might have gone on Fiverr and got a logo done, but didn't invest in a whole brand kind of voice and font and color, like mood board. You know, that's when that stuff really comes into play. You know, you can, whether you're going into Canva yourself and you're uploading those brand assets, or, you know, you're giving them to a graphic designer to make these items for you, having that clear direction on always use this font, always use this color. This is the tone of voice that we always use. That's the stuff that's going to reinforce your brand 100%. And I know from, you know, dabbling in Canva a lot, for a lot of the people out there, that's how they make most of their graphics. You know, that there's that great tool where you can change all now. So you change a heading and put it into your brand font and press change all, and everywhere that font is, it's changed it for you. So, you know, you might have had a 20-page document that you're building, but very, very quickly you can roll out that it feels like your brand and looks like your brand, you know, very quickly and easily. You don't have to go page by page and do it. So.
Yeah, that's so tedious.
Yeah.
Having to go page by page.
I know the light bulb moment when I saw that change all thing, when someone told me about that, I was like, why did I not know about this?
Yes.
That would be, you know, so I use it all the time, as I'm sure you do. Are there any emerging trends or technologies that you think that wedding professionals should be aware of when they're exploring passive income ideas?
You know, there's actually a new platform that came across my universe.
Ooh, tell me.
Not that long ago. It's called The Leap. Leap. Yeah, everybody, stop what you're doing. Write it down.
The Leap.
The Leap, hot off the press. And It is, if I'm remembering correctly, and I feel terrible if I botch this, but I think I'm doing it. I think I'm remembering correctly. It's basically another product revenue stream from a company called Thinkific, which is a big like course creation online shop platform. And so they created The Leap, and it's a way for, and it's free as of last time I checked, which is wild, but it's a way for creators and educators and influencers to create short form like courses that are consumed on your phone. So everything is in the style of, you know, like an Instagram story essentially. And you can do it really quickly because they have incorporated artificial intelligence into it, right? So it's like, what type of course or short course do you want to create, and then it's using AI to create the foundation of it after asking you a few questions, and then it's written most of the copy for you, and then what you need to do is go in and record your videos. So like a really easy way and to start getting or creating like your first course. So that's the cool new kid on the block that I've recently discovered.
I noticed that Kajabi are doing something similar. Have you noticed that?
I haven't seen that one, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
The AI in that, I went in and it prompted me to come up with a new certificate course for the Wedding Academy, and I said, certificate in wedding photography. And it pumped out suggested modules and lessons to get me started. And they were bloody good. They were bloody good.
That's great.
There's a lot more to be done in terms of videos and fleshing out that content. But the AI abilities in some of this software to just get you started and give you that framework is quite exceptional at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think, talking about that, ongoing education and sort of staying on top of these systems and the technologies, that's super important, right?
It is. Listen, I mean, the pace that technology is changing right now is objectively fast, like faster than it has been maybe ever. It's so. Yeah, I've had the opportunity to give a couple presentations about AI and how we can leverage it as small business owners. And, I often tell these kind of narratives around how what we're living through is different even from when we went from like horses and carriages to cars, right? Like, because that was one transformation. And then the cars got better, but it wasn't like the cars got better every day.
Yeah.
And with artificial intelligence, the technology is changing and getting better every day. Mm-hmm. So it is important to try to stay a little bit more on top of what's going on in this space, because I don't think that anybody wants to be like not a grandparent and asking like the kids to explain how to use the technology, right? Like I'm 38 years old. I'm like, I need to understand how to use this technology. I can't be acting like my 94-year-old grandmother who's trying to get, I need to teach her how to use a, text message. So that's why it's important to stay on top of technology right now, is because it is moving so fast and none of us want to get left behind. And this is not hyperbole. You actually could get left behind if you don't figure out how you can leverage it and incorporate it into your business. Because everybody else is going to. Yeah.
And look, I'm really, really passionate about finding the latest tools and materials and strategies. And it's part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast, to be really honest. So Wedding Empires for me is all about, getting people like you in to talk about what we need to talk about in order to stay on top and to stay current and to be using the right tools and using the right strategies to stay on top, because it's absolutely so competitive in this space. Mm-hmm. So we need all the help that we can get. Now, I have one more question for you, very, very, very serious one, in that are there any legal considerations or challenges that wedding professionals might need to be aware of when creating these additional passive income streams?
Yeah, don't steal other people's shit. Definitely don't break the law by stealing someone else's stuff and trying to sell it as your own. And I know that, you laughed because it sounds outrageous, but I actually have a friend who is a stationery designer who is dealing with that right now. Mm-hmm. She had one of her digital products, someone who purchased her digital product straight up, didn't even try to change, didn't even remove her business name from the product and just put it up in her own shop and has been selling it for years. So again, it sounds outrageous, but it happens. So from a legal perspective, my advice as a non-lawyer, but a human who's trying to be a good one, is don't steal other people's shit.
Yeah. And protect yourself, right? Protect your own brand. Get your trademark, get it copyrighted, protect these ideas that you have that are unique and, a brand, assets, protect them as well. I think that's really important.
It is.
Oh, I love talking to you. Can we do this again?
Yes. I was going to say, as we were starting to dip our toes into the AI pool, we for sure should have another chat about how artificial intelligence is going to change how our customers find us on the internet. That is my new soapbox. I did give that as a part of a presentation recently, and everyone in the audience was like, what?
Yeah, okay.
So if you want to blow some minds, let's definitely have a follow-up chat about that, because that, for sure, when we talk about needing to make sure that we are not getting left behind, maintaining our SEO is of utmost importance.
Yeah. It came up, I interviewed, as I said, Nina Clapperton. She's from She Knows SEO. That's coming up in Wedding Empires soon. But we dabbled into the fact that, even just the voice search, how you've got to start thinking about that. You're not just thinking about people on a desktop searching your exact business type on Google anymore. It's where's a wedding photographer near me, Siri? It's
yeah,
right.
Totally. We should do a conversation with the three of us. That would be so fun. That would be so
great. Fun. Yes. All right, I'll line that up. Taylor, thank you so much. Before we finish up, I'd like you to give me your little 2-second plug about what NG is, how wedding business owners can use it, and how the hell do they go and sign up and try it?
Yes, I'm happy to do that. So NG is marketing software for small businesses who have to do their own marketing, but are not marketing experts. And so what we are is basically, if anyone knows me, it's my brain, my marketing consultant brain turned into software so that you can use it to actually plan, organize, and do your own marketing. So you can create your marketing strategy. It creates recommended tasks that you should be doing in order to actually do your marketing strategy. It has an AI copywriter, a social media scheduler, a place for you to organize all of your brand assets, and a place for you to track your metrics so that you can understand what's working and what's not as time goes on. But I would love for everyone to start a free 14-day trial so you can get in there and tinker away. And you can do that. I know Jac is going to put her link in the show notes. Yeah. And I would love for you to check it out. And if you have any questions along the way, you can just say, hey, Taylor, how do I do this? Because you know a guy.
I love it. ENJI. Where'd the name come from?
Actually, Jillian, my copywriting partner at Tayler, I actually hired her to do a naming session. And so, I completed an intake form for her, and she went and did her magical wordsmithing, and she came up with a list of like 40 options. And we loved NG because it's a play off of the word engine, because we're trying to help people create their marketing engines. Yeah. But it turns out that as we spell it, ENJI, it's also a masculine Japanese name. So when you Google it, there's a lot of anime that still pops up. So I'm still working on all of our SEO to make sure that NG is showing up for NG's name on the internet. But, little bit by bit, I will, bite by bite, I will eat this elephant.
You know what? It doesn't matter what your name is if you've got a good thing going on, right? Yeah. I mean, there's been some weird brand names out there, and you just think, how the hell? But it works. It works. And
totally.
So before you know it, NG will just be absolutely everywhere. I'm sure of it.
I hope so. That's the goal.
Well, thanks, Taylor. It's been a joy, as it always is. And I will definitely love to see you back on Wedding Empires as soon as possible. I'm sure we've got plenty of things that we can talk about.
Yes. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to be a guest, and I always love seeing your face.
Me too. This episode of Wedding Empires is brought to you by the Wedding Academy, where you can start and grow your wedding business. We offer certificate courses, group coaching programs, and a whole heap of templates and worksheets and things to help you get started and grow your wedding business. For more information, visit weddingacademyglobal.com. And don't forget to use your 5% discount code PODCAST when checking out. This episode of Wedding Empires is brought to you by the Wedding Academy, where you can start and grow your wedding business. We offer certificate courses, group coaching programs, and a whole heap of templates and worksheets and things to help you get started and grow your wedding business. For more information, visit weddingacademyglobal.com. And don't forget to use your 5% discount code podcast when checking out.